Hello, dear friends. The famous Scottish summer snake has finally shown signs of life while the economy is in the doldrums, and there is already public talk about the system change. It would be a matter of weeks or a few months, but not years. On the other hand, there is no news of the Argentine Nahuelito. Opinion piece. Nessie returns. Loch Ness Monster reappears. The snake of summer appears in autumn. Thousands queue to leave La Palma. Volcano spews lava bombs the size of a car. Intel starts construction of 2 chip factories in Arizona. Biden sends message to prepare for government shutdown. Failure to reach a deal could leave Uncle Sam unable to pay his bills. Our economy is collapsing by design, and it's all about change. Cryptocurrency ban boosts central bank digital currency. Central bank digital currencies would be a temporary cure for the broken system. Evergrande dodges receiverships, but remain on the brink of bankruptcy. Galactic Federation of Wealth statement on misinformation. Let's start. A drone records the Loch Ness Monster for the first time in history. It captures a mysterious shadow lurking in the loch. A strange black shape in Loch Ness has been captured in 4K images by a drone. Camper Richard Mavor was canoeing in the area in August and recording videos for his YouTube channel. When he uploaded the video, some viewers spotted something strange lurking in the water near the lake shore at 3:54. The incredible video recorded by Richard Mayer, 54, shows a mysterious duck shape on the shore of the lake in Scotland. As we can appreciate in the images, the drone approaches the dark shadow that moves as the camera gets closer. Although it is undoubtedly the best evidence of all time, this is not the first sighting of the Loch Ness Monster this year. At least 5 others have been officially recorded. Maver said there was no wood floating near the sighting and that the shadow was the same shape as the descriptions of Nessie. He was recording a video to upload to his YouTube channel, Richard Outdoors, in which he describes himself as a professional pilot, former British Armed Forces serviceman, outdoor enthusiast, and wild camper. In quotes, "I couldn't believe it. I had to rewind the footage several times and have watched it several times since," he said. "I didn't realize what I had picked up until others told me to be careful. It could be a trick of the light, but we can't be sure." According to Mayer, the shadow was the same shape as previous Nessie sightings. The legend about the mysterious ancient creature living in the lake still attracts many tourists. At least 5 other sightings of the famous monster have been reported since earlier this year. Official statement. Official statement from the Galactic Federation of Wealth on the ongoing controversy and the spread of misinformation. In quotes, everything. There are agents, counter-intelligence agents, who are working closely with Earth allies. The purpose of these communications is to sow confusion and fear among the human species. These terrestrial people who are spreading counter-intelligence are trying consciously or unconsciously to discredit the Galactic Federation of Wealth. These agents use various forms of communication with their terrestrial informants, none of which are used by the Galactic Federation of Worlds. These methods are as follows: artificial intelligence using satellite communications and other methods, which we will not say, but which are common mind control tactics of the Dark Fleet and its allies. They will increase communications of this nature in an effort to maintain control and further discredit our momentous efforts. Do not allow yourselves to be afraid. We will never let you down. We salute you. Sign it, Senior Commanders Balnek and Ardana. Former European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker once said in his speech, in quotes, "Aliens from far away are disappointed with world politics." Pope Francis once in his speech said that he would also baptize aliens. That means he knows what awaits them, and not only he knows. Why is there so much suffering in a world where the natural resources that build almost everything are sold in a market that uses an accountable system to buy scarcity? Another news. The Captain Kirk will travel to space. Decades after playing the main character of the television series Star Trek, the actor William Shatner is preparing to travel to space. Now, 90 years old, the star who gave life to Captain James Kirk in the iconic Interstellar Adventures will participate in the second space mission of Blue Origin's New Shepard rocket. First film in space. On October 5th, a Russian crew of a cosmonaut and 2 film professionals will blast off to the International Space Station to shoot the first fictional film in outer space. 5 storms. 5 storms are on the horizon. First, Peter and Rose tropical storms. Second, Internet apocalypse solar storms. Third, La Palma Cumbre Vieja Volcano false flag scare event with fake tsunami. It would be a whole false information campaign. Fourth, everything points to the massive stock market crash that would trigger the storm and then the blackout. Fifth, once you hear the phrase, "the storm is upon us," we would have 12 hours to prepare for the shutdown. The good guys would be with us everywhere, so there wouldn't be too much protest and violence. Waking up to the truth is not easy for anyone. It would be even harder for those who are still sleeping soundly. There will be a time to heal after these events. We will have to be there to help the sleepy ones who still watch fake media televisions and listen to the radio. The enemies are not the sleepers. System change. Financial system. For the safety of everyone's money and finances, there will be a total takeover of the planet's finances through the QFS, a quantum financial system, which is impossible to hack. Everyone in the world will have an account in this system. There will also be a revaluation of currencies. Countries that were completely devalued unjustly, like Iraq, Vietnam and Zimbabwe. There will be more countries involved, but those are examples. Gold will win the battle. Central bank digital currencies would simply be a temporary cure in a broken system. Ultimately, this would be a tailwind for gold. Current inflation is over 12% when calculated as it was in the 70s. They want high inflation, as this is the only politically viable way to address some of the debt problems. The market believes in the transitory inflation narrative. Once faith is lost, gold would take off. Gold is a currency hedge. Price matters, but very soon it would be more important to preserve purchasing power. Our economy is collapsing by design, and everything is about to change. Everything is about to change, says Glenn, and especially with regard to our economy being pushed into a second world type of economy by design. Costco is limiting items to counter supply chain challenges. Rural roads may soon mirror those in Cuba. And a digital dollar is likely on the horizon. We are in a war, Glenn says, and the longer it lasts, the less you will remember that what used to be our old normal. Forecast. What the near future holds. This would happen in the next few weeks or months. That's why Linkwood announced that everyone should stockpile 3 to 4 weeks of food for their family. But she is only referring to the US. The humanitarian workers will lead the way on the new Earth to rebuild the planet with technology that was hidden, and to stop hunger, poverty, no one homeless and no one harmed. We will do it with zero-point energy, a form of free energy care, hydrogen or electricity, food replicators, anti-gravity technology, and the crown jewel, the celestial chambers. No one would be left off the planet, and all would share in the wealth and abundance of this great human planet. The first major transition of the planet would be in the next 3 to 6 weeks from multiple sources, but the exact timing is unknown. We know that this is a very important transition for humankind. This would be the Great Awakening. With this information, we would realize that humankind has reached the next step of evolution to get closer to God, to know the truth of what happened, and to know more truths of the hidden technology and the truth of the galaxy and other worlds. Because humankind is really beginning the final steps towards what is really real and truthful, for so God will shine the light upon humankind and allow the truth to be told. How do you fit realities like soul, family, beauty, humility, patience, intelligence, art, harmony, charity, wisdom, discernment, angles, the human propensity for goodness, unconditional love, a new birth, the innocence of a child into that picture? You can't. We are all called to be great saints. Let's not miss the opportunity. Government shutdown. Biden sends message to government agencies to prepare for government shutdown. The Biden administration sent a message to federal agencies Thursday to prepare for a possible government shutdown in the coming weeks. The news comes as Democrats and Republicans in Congress are poised to go war over the White House proposed budget. As Fox Business reports, the Senate is expected to vote as early as Monday on a House-passed bill that would keep the government funded through early December and raise the $28 billion debt ceiling. But the bill would almost certainly be doomed to failure in the upper chamber, where all but 4 Republican senators have voted to vote against it. Democrats would need to get the support of at least 10 Republican lawmakers to overcome the filibuster. It is unclear what comes next. Without a short-term spending bill, the government would shut down next week. At the same time, the federal government would run out of cash to pay its bills in November unless the debt ceiling is raised or suspended, according to multiple warnings from Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen. Fed's debt default plan would be a step toward the abyss. The Federal Reserve could dispense with the latest arguments in Washington over the government borrowing limit. Failure to reach an agreement could leave Uncle Sam unable to pay his bills. If lawmakers allow any debt to go unpaid, the central bank will find itself in a seriously difficult situation. Not for you, not for me. Up in the air. That's how the Fed's beloved are presumed rate hike for 2022 remains after the most recent meeting of the Federal Open Market Committee of the Federal Reserve, a result of hard-fought disagreements between doves and hawks in the land of Uncle Sam, according to Javier Benitez. Economy. Dow Jones and S&P 500 end with gains after bumpy week. The Dow and the S&P 500 rose Friday and ended a turbulent week with slight gains, helped by gains in Tesla and Facebook that offset the drop in Nike. Treasuries are at risk. Traffic appears to be slowing on the way to higher treasury yields as central banks move closer to ending emergency anti-crisis policies. Silver recovers. Silver markets have initially rallied over the course of the week to show signs of strength again, but then turned around quite dramatically on Friday to test the $22 level. Intel starts construction of 2 computer chip factories in Arizona. Intel started construction of 2 new computer chip factories in Arizona as part of a $20 billion project to help meet high demand for semiconductors. Los Angeles' largest port is facing a major traffic jam as more than 60 ships are unable to unload their cargo. Some 62 container ships are stuck outside the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach amid disruptions to supply chains, the Daily Mail reported, citing satellite photos showing the massive shipping bottleneck. Those ports are responsible for processing 40% of all containers coming into the US and are among the main gateways for Chinese goods to the US market. Clinton lawyer charged with fraud in Russiagate. Attorney Michael Sussman's indictment sheds light on the Clinton campaign's involvement in turning the Russiagate opposition research operation into a criminal investigation. Europe. UK plunges into chaos due to oil crisis, panic, endless queues, and blocked roads. The situation was caused by a shortage of HGV drivers, with local media reporting that the country is short of thousands of workers due to the crisis. The driver shortage has subsequently led to problems with fuel supply. Truck drivers' visas. The visa plan to address the truck drivers' shortage wouldn't solve the crisis. Britain's decision to issue temporary visas for 5,000 foreign truck drivers would be a short-term solution that wouldn't solve a severe labor shortage that risks causing major disruption for retailers in the run-up to Christmas, according to business leaders. Electric cars, solution or fraud? The European Union will ban the sale of diesel, gasoline and hybrid cars cars from 2035. This is the idea of the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, through a legislative proposal. But the question arises, are electric cars the ultimate solution, or are we only on the threshold of a new problem? Demonstrators protest against Hillary Clinton as she becomes university chancellor in Nauset Island. Former top US diplomat and failed presidential candidate Hillary Clinton became the first female chancellor of Queen's University in Belfast, but her triumphal entry was picketed by people branding her a war criminal in quotes. Clinton was inaugurated Friday as the first woman chancellor of the Queen's, a public university that dates back to the 1840s. She was actually appointed for the 5-year term in 2020, but her appointment was delayed due to the crisis. 13 state initiative for a European defense. 13 European Union states are committed to increasing their military cooperation and independence from the US. This is the purpose of the European Intervention Initiative, a framework for military cooperation between 13 countries outside NATO, following the end of the occupation of Afghanistan and especially the birth of the AUKUS partnership. Eastern Europe. Ukraine will not join NATO until it achieves democratic standards and respects for minority rights, says Hungary's foreign minister. Ukraine does not yet meet the standards that would allow it to be accepted into the NATO military bloc, the Hungarian foreign minister said, pointing specifically to issues related to minority rights in the country. Anti-Russian stance will lead to increased US military presence in Eastern Europe. Aspiring congressional hawks have inserted an amendment into the defense spending bill calling for more US military troops in Eastern Europe and the Black Sea. However, Congress is writing checks that the Pentagon cannot cash. Turkish lira hits record low. Turkey's lira hit a record low against the dollar on Friday, a day after its central bank unexpectedly cut interest rates, reinforcing growing concerns about President Tayyip Erdogan's influence over monetary policy. China's cryptocurrency ban boosts central bank digital currency. Central banks around the world are redoubling their efforts to exert their own influence within the sector. This underscores what most observers believe is shaping up to be an arms race in a new era of global finance. The Bank for International Settlements recently announced plans to build a crypto platform for the international community of central bankers to transact in central bank digital currency and other crypto assets. China opines that US would betray India, Australia, Japan. China wants the Asian democracies of Australia, India and Japan that the US would throw them away in quotes as if they were garbage in quotes again, as it abandoned its allies in Afghanistan, a reference to the widely criticized troop withdrawal from the region. Evergrande Crisis. Evergrande dodges default but remains on the brink of bankruptcy. China's largest real estate developer, Evergrande, has avoided default by announcing that it will pay interest on its yuan-denominated bonds. However, dollar bond holders remain on edge as they see no sign that the company will meet the payment due on September 23rd. Alarmed by Epigrant, China's lenders withhold new loans to property developers. As fears of contagion from any default by China Evergrande Group grew this month, some Chinese banks, insurers, and shadow banks stopped offering new loans to property developers and made urgent checks on their exposure to the troubled sector. Other countries. UN stresses education for Afghan girls should be a given before recognizing Taliban. United Nations Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohammed on Friday stressed that education for Afghan girls should be a given before the international community grants its recognition to the Taliban government. Iran-Venezuela rich oil export deal. Venezuela agreed a key contract to swap its heavy oil for Iranian condensate it can use to upgrade the quality of its tar-like crude, with the first shipments due for delivery this week. Spain. La Palma airport closes after increased ejections of pyroclastic material. More eruptive vents and more explosions. The lava flows are multiplying and the explosiveness is felt even more on the island. In addition, there is an increase of the expulsion of pyroclastic material. There have also been more evacuations. Now, 2 new vents that opened on Friday were joined into one, with a new flow, which flows very fast due to its high temperature because it comes from the inner parts of the caldera, and the lava flows more easily. The main cone of the volcano of La Palma suffers a collapse. The main cone of the volcanic eruption of the island of La Palma suffered a partial rupture, leaving a new lava flow that is currently flowing at a higher speed than those formed in recent days. The volcano intensifies its activity. The Cumbre Vieja volcano has intensified its activity since Friday, with a slowdown at night and a recovery of emissions, with the emergence of new vents along the fissure and the partial rupture of the cone building. Lava from the volcano slows down. The lava emitted by the Cumbre Vieja volcano has slowed down in the last hours after the collapse of the upper part of the volcanic cone had reached speeds between 250 and 300 meters per hour. Cumbre Vieja volcano spews car-sized lava bombs more than 2 kilometers distance. Explosions so loud, windows shattering on the island of La Palma. Lava bombs the size of cars are being hurled more than 2 kilometers from the volcano's mouth, accompanied by blast sounds so fierce they are shattering windows of buildings 3 kilometers away. Pyroclastic flows are being ejected up to 2 kilometers from the eruption zone. Firefighters were ordered to retreat further from their location for a week because lava bombs are coming out randomly and landing everywhere. Shock waves from the explosions can harm humans. They increase their explosive activity by shattering windows up to 3 kilometers away. Hundreds of people are evacuated in La Palma. About 200 residents of the area of Tajuya and Tacande have had to leave their homes after the eruptions of the Cumbre Vieja volcano intensified. Most of them have gone to relatives' houses, and others have spent the night in the Sosa field. Long queues to leave the island. Volcanic explosions spewed red-hot lava into the air on La Palma on Saturday as a new mission vent opened, forcing the small Spanish island to close its airport and causing long queues for boats off the island. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.